decided that they wanted to make a virtue out of selfishness.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
This is the Revolution Part 2 here on Lake Effect Radio. You like that part?
I like that part.
Okay.
Well, not as much
Streaming
as part
live at
one.
lakeeffectradio.org/studio. And we are here with Mike with Prevailing Scales.
Yes, you got that right. Mamano is the last name.
I know I was sort of blanking on that for a second.
Oh, I used to get it butchered all the time in school when I was younger. But I want to thank you guys for inviting me here to promote my upcoming CD. And whatever questions you guys want to ask away. And I like Ariana's orange Converse.
Well, thank you so much.
So let's get things started off with a pretty easy question. Where are you from?
I was originally born in Newark, New Jersey in the 50s and moved out to Ohio in the mid-60s. And I've been out here ever since and love it. Ohio, Cleveland area.
You go to school out here?
I went to school out here as well.
Where'd you graduate?
I didn't graduate. I went to 2-year associates at Tri-C.
They
And I
beat
got
her.
into my own business. I've been a sales rep for the last 40 years, independent. And I ran out and got my own principles, which reason how I got started into the music is because I was kind of traveling a lot and having a lot of time, and I always played the guitar. And before I knew it, I was having music come out my butt that you never thought I could do. And I met Jeremiah about 5 years ago because he had ran into some old music that I had done with my ex-partner. It was called Just Passing Through, our CD. And it was fun doing it. Pretty much was, I think, 11 songs. And it was the first time I ever tried to really do something right with the studio, recording it properly, mastering it, and everything else. And my ex-partner was a good lyricist, wrote a lot of lyrics, was a good wordsmith.
How long did it take you guys to write that?
I wrote all the music starting in 97 to like almost 2012. I started writing the music my dad passed away in 94, and we were always close. My mom, my dad, and my sister, and one of my best friends, Otto, were all born August 18th, which is it's like Planned Parenthood all over again.
It's 2 days after my birthday, August 16th.
Really?
Fellow Leo, yeah.
I have friends, twins, that are born August 16th. No lie. Scott and Steve. And I don't know if they're out there listening, but they know.
We have our own Scott and Steve. Well, we used to.
Well, we have a Scott.
We have a Scott still.
Yeah.
We did have a Steve.
Well, getting back to what you were saying, I started writing music because I was, just in between traveling and, I think a lot of it was for condolences for my dad, the way I grieved for him. Instead of bumming out, the music came out of me because I think you write music through emotions and how you feel. Because some days you could be up and maybe write a song that's jumpy or whatever, you know what I mean? But I started writing and I didn't realize that. And I met this gentleman who was supposed to be here. His name was Ken Ross. He was my drummer, my first drummer I met. And he was really taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about recording, playing to a click track, learning how to really play your music and record it. The funny thing about the CD that Jeremiah heard last time before is when we did it and recorded it, besides playing all the guitars and piano parts, we didn't do no copy and paste. We played every part from the beginning to the end. And if you made a mistake, we redid it. So I think that's part of the reason why the songs came out really nice. And, after I met Ken, and Ken actually was from L.A., and believe it or not, he was in a marching band with Jeff Porcaro, one of the best drummers. He was with Toto. And they didn't do anything professionally, but they knew each other. And
that goes back to what I said at the last interview: 6 levels of connection. With knowing 6 people, you could know any person in the world.
And that happens in anything, your career, life, or whatever. That's why it's easy to be nice to people. That's the trick. Be nice to people.
You never know who's going to come across your path, or
Right,
you're going to come across their path.
And it's just so easy to be nice than to, be full of bullshit.
It
Sorry for
it
the
is
French.
easy to be nice.
But that's the history was kind of weird because after I started writing all this music, I'm not a singer, but I sang a couple of the songs. As long as I didn't have to play the guitar, I was just concentrating on singing. I did okay, and I was running an ad looking for somebody that could write lyrics, and that was my ex-partner. He was really good at writing lyrics, and he was a good singer, and he filled in the blanks by finishing off some of the music that I had already written with lyrics, and now they became songs. And that is what the first CD what we did was called Just Passing Through. And my ex-partner was in a religious band back in the late 60s, early 70s with a gentleman most people know. His name was Glenn Schwartz. Glenn was a legend guitar player, was the original guitar player with the James Gang. And
I don't think I've heard of those.
Yeah, well, if you look him up, he's very well known, Glenn Schwartz. And this was, I can't remember the year, but I wrote this song, and my ex-partner says, you know what, I got some lyrics just passing through that might fit for Glenn, because he was very religious. And he said, do you mind? I said, that'd be awesome. I never even knew the guy. And he came to my home studio, and we spent almost 30 hours recording, and he came and played the lead
Consecutive?
part. No, just
Okay, over a
collectively,
frame
right.
of time.
Accumulative. And then Glenn recorded it, and then 3 months later he went down with Joe Walsh, Dan Arbach, and Glenn's brother to record in Nashville. And it's all on YouTube. If you looked it up, just type in Joe Walsh and Glenn Schwartz. They were doing, and Dan Arbach from the Black Keys, they were doing religious music. They wanted to re-record. So they had to get back to my ex-partner to get the legal aspects out of the way. And that took me to like 2012, and we were just basically taking all the music I'd written and making them songs. And as I was going along, I was meeting all these other musicians that liked what I was doing. I was horrified that they did, number one, because people always say, what's your music sound like? I don't know. I let other people tell me what it sounds like, and but we started doing before I met my ex-partner, me and my ex-drummer, Kenny, we were doing musician nights at like Mad Mike's and Garfield, Sassy's down at Twinsburg, another place called Spirits, which was in Mayfield, and a gentleman by the name of Mike Dublow played the drums. He used to do a lot of cover songs and stuff, but he was always grateful to get me started, come and do the musician nights. And his cousin is Butch Armstrong. I don't know, Butch Armstrong and the Bearcats. And they used to come in. They were great guys. The musicians in Cleveland are really, really nice. They support you. The musician nights aren't as much anymore, I don't think. But that's where, we got some of our songs heard before they were even lyrics. Like on that CD, 12 Years of Rage, we were playing that. I got copies of it without any lyrics. That's, and because I was not into writing. I'm not looking to make hits or be famous. When you write music, and I'm sure the other gentleman you had on before, all you want is your music to be listened to. Because if you like it, and if you hear it one time, just like when I was a kid listening to a band called Captain Beyond, and I suggest everybody check them out actually. And if you hear the music and you like it, you're going to want to listen to it more. And that's the hardest thing as a musician, is to get your music heard. Because, they want to just pop music. They want hits. And that's not what it's about. Actually, today's John Lennon's birthday.
What's his face? The other gentleman, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll never forget. October 9th.
And that's also something we brought up, that the older generations have a more personal connection with the music that they listen to, because they couldn't skip through it, or they couldn't just listen to one song. They had to listen to the whole album.
Yeah, but you go from Motown, you had the Isley Brothers. I mean, they wrote great music, and you had Stevie Wonder, and then you went to the other side of it. You had Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and James Taylor, and all the music. You had different genres, but they were great music. because they weren't looking to be famous. They were writing from
They were
their
just
emotion.
looking for music. They were looking to
Yeah,
create the best
right.
song.
Not looking to like they do now. They want to just, I guess, make a hit.
Well, yeah,
And make money.
because it's about money. Because it's about the radio station, whoever's signing them, because they need to get their cut.
Right, and that's why what Jeremiah does is very gracious, because you're given an opportunity, a nobody, to at least get their music listened to. Somebody might
It's not
like it.
completely just all me though. It's all these guys and other
And
guys.
all the other college radio stations that,
Well,
that
that
do things
too.
like us.
Yeah, well, I never was approached by anybody. I would have never met you if you didn't like the CD on Reverb Nation.
Oh, there's
know?
many other different PR directors we had in that too. Or occasionally, if we sort of occasionally split. I know at one point in time, I don't remember if it was like when I started contacting you with some other time in that, or maybe a few weeks later, we split the list and said, well, hey, you do that, I do, you know. It's kind of easier when you're dumping, like, here's this and that, you know, well, hey, you'll take this, I take that.
Well, that was the cool thing of
Yeah.
when my era of music was when a new album came out or a new group or somebody, you played the whole album because you wanted to hear all the different songs, you know, and the musicianship was a lot better too.
That's like when I go through lists and that, I go at least 2 tracks or 2 videos, something like that.
That's like with my CD, I went vocal, instrumental, and because I'm not looking for hits. It was just the music itself. So you could, you know, because I liked instrumentals. I mean, the bands like Yes, the Moody Blues, Black Sabbath. Almost every band always had instrumentals on their song and on their albums, because they weren't, like I said, they weren't trying to write hits. You know, they weren't looking. And if it happened, it happened. And that whole industry's changed. I mean, your record companies, their CD companies supported you, but they don't do it now, because you can download everything. They haven't caught up to the technology is the problem. Just like the post office. Think about how many letters don't get mailed anymore, or quotes. Because I was in sales, I had to write letters all the time for quotes and mail them. Now that it's in the internet, you email them. You know,
Or coupons coming through the mail anymore.
yeah.
Because they get emailed.
Yeah, well, look how much money was probably. I'd like to know if it's a possibility to figure out how much money was actually lost to the mail for that, you know. Not to sound like an idiot, why don't we play one of our songs? It's up to you.
Which one do you want to go?
Start with the second song. And I didn't even write it.
I'm excited.
This song is written by Ken Ross. Kenny, my drummer, was also a keyboard player. And what he would do, he wrote 3 of the songs on this CD. And I wanted to promote him because, you know, even though I played a guitar to him, they were good songs. And this is Kenny and me. Everything you're going to hear is pretty much Ken and I. But this is the song, and it's called No Static.
showing the world all the love that you I was telling Nathan how I wrote this song about forgiveness. Was a good friend of mine, Mike Murray, who won Golden Gloves back when we were in high school, by the way. He did 135-pound at Old Navy Park Gym. And we used to sit on his porch and just reminisce and talk about heavy stuff, religion, people, whatever. And I used to bring him the songs that I was working on and let him hear them. And I had this song, Forgiveness is Right, and I had the first line, going through changes in your life. And Mike immediately said, it's been said through the ages, which helped me finish the rest of the song. And that's how it usually goes, just to get a little snippet that makes you continue on to follow up with the lyrics. Because if he never gave me those words, I don't think I would have been able to write the lyrics, the rest of them, which is kind of weird, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I got to just always thank him. You know, that's why I always mention it, because he was a big part of it. But that's where it is with writing.
And how did it, this song, when you were first thinking of it, how did it come to be? Did you decided to write
playing it on the piano. I wrote the piano groove, dun 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 dun, and then after I had the piano part and everything down, I added a guitar part. There's only one guitar part to that, and then a rhythm, and that's how it works. I actually never once sat down and tried to write a song. You just practice, or you're playing, or you hear something, and and then the song usually writes itself after a while. And I'm not I don't know what the right word is. I mean, very fortunate to get to what I got out of the music that I've been doing the last 15 to 20 years. Because I can't play anymore because of arthritis, which sucks, but that's life. Maybe one day down the road I'll be able to play again. And that's why I appreciate the fact that you're giving me a chance to promote my CD. And because my other musicians that I still know always kind of push me, hey, we got to get her back. We got to get back out again. Maybe someday. Maybe if I can start playing again, or get my nephew, who I taught how to play the guitar, get him to play with me like I did at one time. But you were saying, too, is we, on YouTube, there's, under Prevailing Scale, there's 3 videos that we did. And that's Sly Fox. Did you ever hear of Sly Fox? It's across the street from the Northern Mall. It's on the west side.
Great Northern.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it?
I'm forgetting what side.
They have an incredible...
I never went in it because my sister used to live off of Clegg.
Okay.
Where that, what you call it, that Sunoco is. And that, was it Clegg something apartments or whatever the heck that is? It's Belmont she used to live off of over that direction. I remember I never really, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say is we went to Sly Fox. They had a musician night. Great stage, great sound system, and you know, we were still doing my original music. Most people were still doing the blues cover, which is cool. And at the end of the video is what makes you want to do it again. Didn't know any of these people, and you hear them at the end of the song whistling and yelling one more to people with, you know, they didn't know us, and that's what makes you.
That's
you know,
gotta feel
that's
pretty
like hitting a
crazy.
home run and getting up the bat the next time. You know what I mean? It motivates you, no doubt, in a grateful way. You know, that's what it's about. I always had a phobia, and I think I told you this last time. The Blues Brothers. You guys seen the Blues Brothers movie? Never seen the Blues Brothers? You've seen the Blues Brothers movie.
No.
There's
Yeah.
a scene where they go into this bar and they're playing, they thinking they're going to play rock and roll, but it's a country hillbilly bar. And they're
That's the
playing-
first one, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the first one. And they have this chicken wire up in front of the stage. So if people are throwing at them, they don't get it. That was my phobia, that we would go out and play and, you know, stuff like
People
that would happen.
could be
you know?
booing.
Yeah, you know, but it never happened, you know. That's the fun part about it, is not only just the people, there's other good musicians liking your stuff. You don't expect that, you know what I mean? And my keyboard player, old keyboard player, Scott Simmons, he was a great keyboard player. He always used to tell me, I don't listen to the lyrics, I like the music. Which is kind of funny, you know, it's that. But that's pretty much it, you know, as far as writing and some of the stuff. And just like I said, getting the music heard, that's what you got to do.
Is there a specific person that, like, you, when you think about it, that you look towards as, like, maybe an idol or someone to...
A couple guys that I've always respected and listened to as writers, producers. Justin Haywood, the Moody Blues. I can't believe that it took that many years to get that guy who wrote all those songs in. Jeff Lynne. He goes back to the Move, then Electric Light Orchestra, and one of the, you know, musicians and producers, besides the Beatles, you know, and Jeff Beck, phenomenal. I still think he's the greatest guitar player ever. Roy Gallagher, you know, Larry Reinhardt from, I tell anybody, you want to hear a great guitar player, Larry Reinhardt from Captain Beyond, and I showed him pictures. Before the Allman Brothers, Larry Reinhardt, Barry Oakley, and Dwayne Allman were in a band together. And this was pre-Allman Brothers. And everybody that I've turned on to Captain Beyond, when they listened to him, they said, man, I never heard of them back then. Wow, how good they were. And that's the fun part of music, is, you know, listening to something that you didn't hear before, you know. And I think that's part of the reason why, just get somebody to listen to your music. And I've been lucky and very grateful that it seems that, and it sounds arrogant and I don't mean it to be, but almost everybody I ran into that would tell me, I like your music. Here's a quick story, getting back to Mike Dublow and another good friend of his, Richie Green. Richie Green, most people don't know. They all know Glenn Schwartz. And Richie Green is one of the sweetest guys in the world. He's 82 years old. He played with Willie Dixon. He played with Chuck Berry. He was in bands that were playing in front of the Beach Boys, the Temptations. And if you go to my Facebook page, he's the one who mastered the CD here. And just a nice guy. And his friend, Mike Dublow, that's how I met Richie. And these guys, you know, when they were, I don't know, filling my head with bullshit, they motivated me. They inspired me to, you know, to have them guys who I respected so much as musicians and people, you know. And they were saying, Mike, we like what you're doing, you know. So it was kind of, all right.
I can imagine how good that made you feel.
Yeah, it did, but it was more good for collective, because when we did the last interview when I was here last time 5 years ago, I didn't hog it all. I was trying to make it everybody. And the funny thing about that interview, none of the guys in that interview played on that CD we promoted, except for maybe one or two songs where that drummer, Michael Lawrence, and he's a really great musician too. He had his own band going at one time. And I believe Joe Vitale was his drummer at one time. And I don't know when my ex-partner and I were doing all the recordings on some songs, Michael did some drum tracks for us, and Joe Vitale's son was his engineer for him. So I mean, I was running into all these people, you know.
Got to meet some very interesting people.
Right, you know. I told him the story. Jeremiah, the one that blew me away the most, so it was two of them. Finishing up with Mike Dublo and Richie, they introduced me because Mike used to play with his son at a bar by Hillside Dairy over there off of Noble Road. There's a bar there. I forgot the name of it. And I met his other guitar player. His name's Mike Luzak. God rest his soul. He passed away. Mike was the program director for WNCX and 98.5 at one time. Blues player, great strat. I was looking for another guitar player. Long story short, I invited him to come to my house when we were rehearsing on a Saturday. Comes to my house, picks his guitar out, starts playing. We're trying to teach him the song, puts it down. I thought he had to go, and the next thing he says to me, he goes, "I'd like to produce you." Now, this is a guy who was the program director. So, you know, my head didn't get swollen. I was like, sure, but I'm looking for a guitar player. You know what I mean? That was really nothing ever happened between Mike and I. But the one that was really cool, too, is, and I hope I'm not getting in trouble, but Prog Nation, I don't know if you ever heard of them, phenomenal band. Tribute band, yes, Moody Blues, King Crimson, I mean, great musicians, and they do their own jazz stuff. They're called the Cuda Brothers, C-U-D-A, Tony and Chris. We were running, my ex-partner and I were running an ad looking for a band, bass player, you know, to audition. And Tony answered the ad, but he didn't want to be a bass player. He says, "I'm not interested in your audition. I'm interested, I like your music. We're looking for a warm-up band in front of us." You never met these. I mean, these are people out of nowhere, just like me and him. That's the interesting part of it, and it's not like I'm trying to brag. That's not what I mean. I was like surprised, you know. They invite us down to their show at the Beachland Ballroom, so I know I'm not BSing, because we met, me and my ex-partner and his wife. We go down and meet him and his brother, and they were really interested in what we were doing. But, see, I didn't realize the whole time that my ex-partner always had, like, an ulterior motive to everything. For him to quit, before we played, I think I mentioned that. We had played Beachland Tavern, which is most of the times when your first chance to play there, Cindy Barber lets you play there. And we played there March 19th, 2000, March 22nd, 2019, at the Tavern, and we did well. I got a video of it. They give you a video of it. And Cindy wrote us an email the next day saying, not apologizing, she didn't spend more time with us, but she's busy running the place. Didn't think much of it. She wanted us to come back and do a 2-hour show in September. And I saved the Scene magazine, September 7th. She sets us up to do a show. My ex-partner quits 3 days before the show. A quitter is why I was more disappointed. We spent all that time learning a 2-hour set of all original music, which was cool, and he quits. It gets better. That same Sunday, because we were going to play that Friday, he invites all my ex-bandmates together for a dinner and try to pull a coup. And the only reason why I found out is my ex-keyboard player told me that happens. That's life. Like I said, you're going to run it, but you can't let it bum you out or deter you from anything. Because, I had if I didn't write the music and it wasn't me, I'd be bummed. But I know the truth of everything. And just having this opportunity, like I said, to push my second CD, I'm really looking forward to it. Because I think it's really... You want to hear some sick song? Play Zapped. I called it Zapped because after I came up with these new jazz chords. I found out how to play. And I wrote this, that's how it worked. Listen to my drummer, Kenny. He's a lefty. This is what I mean. It wasn't just me. Kenny made my music sound great. Check this song out. It's called Zapped. guitar crazy songs. Zap.
That was a fun one.
But my drummer Kenny can play on that. If you listen to the drumming on that, and he made the music come alive.
Especially with the transition in that.
Yeah.
In the
that
blues
was
and that.
fun.
But where are we at as far as just finishing up on some of the conversations? Oh, my friend John. I was just telling Nathaniel about my friend John, who was John Trumpler, Canadian, Montreal. National sales manager for IPL Plastics. He hired me on, and it was a great keyboard player. And we did some stuff together. But when he was younger, he actually got the original Rush. I was telling Nathaniel to play at their school dance or whatever, or just one of those shows where they showed up, which was kind of cool. The original Rush.
I know. Have you heard of the All American Rejects?
Yeah.
That band?
Oh, yeah.
They also do stuff like that where they just show up. They did a show at Sheets once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have a program where you can like submit like your workplace or wherever, and they might come do a show there just spontaneously. So Jeremiah
Well,
submitted
their house
Lakeland.
party tour. It's over.
That's what it's called.
What was it? They have like 3 new singles they just put out.
It keeps them grounded, I think, when they do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that stuff like that I love.
Search
That's
Party,
awesome.
their newest sort of like singles. So they had 3 new tracks they put out, and that was sort of their built-in marketing move of they done it at frat houses and all that other sheets, and that which sort of makes sense, especially if you hear how it's labeled Search Party. You're searching for the party, random,
I guess
parties,
that is kind of a pun.
It's sort of, good marketing move on their part.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, stuff like that I thought was really cool. I wish we could get some more like a big band that like a lot of people know. It'd be cool if we could get one of them in here.
You guys used to have a lot of concerts here years ago.
In the golden years before COVID.
Well,
No,
no,
I'm
this
going
is
back.
even before
I'm
this.
even going back to the 70s.
Oh man,
This is like
When you were a thought.
late.
I wasn't even a thought. My parents were still young then.
Late 70s and 80s. The radio station they put on things out in the parking lot,
Oh, we
big
gotta
giant
do that
concerts
again.
and that. And they charge per cartload and that. They had Michael Stanley, Van Morrison.
Van Morrison was
What
awesome.
the
I didn't see it.
heck? Oh
Yeah.
my God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Another random thing eventually I had to talk about.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that like post COVID we lost a lot of students, so it'd be hard to do something like that again.
And that's why I wasn't so bumming when my partner quit. Because then a couple months later, the pandemic hit, and nobody could play out. So it really was like a blessing in disguise, I guess, so you're what it is. So what I did during that time is I went and I was doing tutorials. I would play the songs that I wanted. If I was going to audition other guitar players, I would play the songs so I could give them the music, and then they could watch me play, and that way I didn't have to teach them. And if you couldn't learn by that, then you weren't, you know what I mean? It wasn't cutting the mustard. So I got a YouTube site under Michael Mamano, which has pretty much a lot of my music, where I'm just playing the guitar along with what I, recorded music. Just so plus in case I ever want to play, I never forget my music, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of weird. You never wrote anything down.
Really?
Never wrote anything down. I probably have 40 to, well, not anymore, because here's the best part about all this conversation we're having. I shouldn't even be here. 022, Labor Day weekend. I was getting arthritis, and my rheumatologist told me I could either take this medicine or get my marijuana card. So I said, you know what? Give me my card, because I don't like those medicines. Kill your liver and stuff. Long story short, it's 9:30 Friday morning. I get my medical marijuana card, and I decided to go down to the botanist place in Wycliffe.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
get
right,
something, right?
Okay, I know where that's
I
at.
go down Sam, because I live in Mayfield Village, and I felt like I had a pain in my stomach. And I thought I had to go to the bathroom. So I said, should I go down or go home? I decided to go home. So I went home. Luckily, I had my phone in my pocket, because as soon as I got home, my legs were like rubber. My aorta went on me, and they life flighted me to the clinic, and I survived. And I know you're looking like, wow, that truly happened. I remember, I guessed we landed on the clinic. It was about 11 in the morning, because the Mayfield Village ET took me up to Hillcrest Hospital, and on the way up there, I heard the guy say, "Bring it, get the helicopter." That's all I remember was landing on the clinic, waking up Sunday.
And that was Friday night that happened.
Yeah, Friday morning.
Mm.
So Friday, Saturday, wake up Sunday. My brother, who's a retired nurse, is at the foot of my bed with my sister, with the doctor, and they tell me we almost lost you on the table. And I said, God didn't have my asbestos suit ready. Because that's, who knows. But then a few months later, I had a stent put in me. And that following August, because I had bad hips, I couldn't barely walk. I had 2 canes. I had my right hip up. I'll go promote George and Chensley. He's one of the greatest. He actually did Joe Thomas's hips.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got good hips now.
But then he did my other hip in September. So I had the aorta go, a stent put in, and 2 hips done within a year.
That's a lot.
And thank God.
I had an earplug put in once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, that's careful. You get your balances on your ears.
That's crazy. You had a ruptured aortic valve.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of the day.
Morning, yeah. After getting my medical marijuana card.
Did you at least get to smoke first?
No, I didn't have nothing. No.
That's the important fact.
That's what I would have. That would have been me.
No, my dog Sadie was just.
Oh, you had a dog named Sadie?
I still got a dog.
My
named
first dog was named Sadie.
Oh yeah, she runs the house.
It's a good dog name.
Yeah.
Sadie. My last name's Hawkins, so we called her Sadie Hawkins.
Oh, okay.
Because Sadie Hawkins dance.
Yeah, I'll show up. Here's a picture of my dog.
I never thought of that. Fair enough.
Do you know what the Sadie Hawkins dance is? So it's when the girls would ask the guy to a dance.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
There's my boss.
Oh.
She's a half.
She kind of looks like my Sadie.
Yeah, she's what is it? Beagle and pug mix. But
A buggle.
yeah, I'm not to get bored here. I'm just. Why don't we play another song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I don't want to talk about myself. I just wanted to bring up some of the stuff
Which
where
track?
I'm at.
Yeah, which one should we play next?
Let me think 1 second. You know what? Play the first song.
Okay.
Now this song is a little personal because it was written about somebody I was sneaking around with. And that was Ariana's favorite. Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you.
No, you're okay.
You have any certain questions?
Sure. So I guess I'll ask you the question I guess I ask any musician whose path I come across is, especially, ones who, like we were talking about, you lived through, the heyday of music and rock and roll and all of that, its birth and rise and fall. Who are your favorite, artists, bands, musicians, albums, all of the above?
I had a lot of them. I loved the Isley Brothers. I loved Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stevie Wonder. Besides the Beatles and the obvious Led Zeppelins and them, the Captain Beyonds, the Roy Gallaghers, Argent. These were guys, because music world was so different then. You had your pop music, which was great because you had all the Motown and Creedence Clearwater Revival. Then you had your rock and roll, and then you had just different genres, but they were all meshed into.
I think it's a little interesting that you call Creedence Clearwater Revival pop music.
It was.
To me, that just doesn't make any sense.
It's a good display
Because
of
he was
how
always on the
genres
top
switch.
40. He was a great writer. I'm not knocking him. Great writer.
No, because I'm younger, it's such a difference.
Yeah, but his.
Yeah.
But what's his face? What's his name again? For Creedence, I can't remember.
Oh.
I want to say John, but it ain't. But anyway, I mean, all the music he wrote were all in the top.
I like a lot of their music.
Oh, yeah.
I still listen to a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, you think
Green River.
Watchtower? That was used a lot.
The what?
Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix.
No, or God, I'm blanking on that.
But Dave Mason. See that what you were asking, there was so much good music, and I mean, besides just the mainstream people, that's what's so different about the music industry now, or there's the music world in itself. I know people my age don't even. A lot of people don't even never heard of Captain Beyond, And if you go back and listen to them, wow. But they're
let me
from.
look him up before I forget.
I know. I was gonna ask
They're
or Fortune Son. What am I thinking? Wrong.
John Fogerty.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I didn't know if I was right or not, so I was
Yes.
like, I'm just gonna keep
John
my mouth
Fogerty
shut.
wrote for the Creedence. I just saw him in an interview with Dan Rather, and he said pretty much the same thing. See, pop music back then was the Beatles, the Stones, the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes. It was a mix. It was.
I can't see necessarily the
Morrison.
Stone now.
Huh?
I really can't see the Stones in that though. I
I
can see everyone else you're naming off of. It's like
Goodbye,
Yeah.
Ruby Tuesday, Satisfaction. Their music was
I
pretty.
can't
Give me
get
shelter.
no.
I mean, it was pretty pop.
and I'm so sad I missed that concert when they came to Cleveland.
I love that song. I remember one time I walked into a bar doing a fundraiser for baseball, and it was like 11 o'clock.
You play baseball?
Yeah, I do. I play at Lakeland's.
Who'd you play in high school?
I played for Willoughby South.
I played for Brush.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Years ago.
We didn't play Brush very much.
No, we were in the LEL back then.
But I was listening. That was the song playing. There's only one guy in the bar, and he was jamming out to it. And I was a little kid, so I didn't know what being drunk was like. So I'm dancing with him, and my dad grabs me. He's like, "Come on, let's get out of here." And I'm like, "What do you mean? We're dancing." He's like, "That guy's hammered at 11 o'clock. We're getting out of here."
Good influence, right?
Yes.
you learned at a very young age.
And at a very young age, that's where you're supposed to be at 11 in the morning.
Right.
One of the, maybe a question too is some of the best shows I saw. I saw the Moody Blues when they played Public Hall. That was great. But I saw at the Agora, which was the greatest, the old Agora. You've heard of Spirit, the band Spirit. Remember Spirit? Randy, California. Well, in the old, me and my friend Mark at the time, we were right up by the stage, sitting on this ladder. The whole time I'm handing him joints. He's partying with us. At the end of the show, their drummer's named Ed Cassidy. He's a bald-headed guy. He was actually Randy California's father-in-law, I believe. And Randy California told us to stick around after the show, and Ed Cassidy came out and gave the drumsticks to my buddy Mark, who was a drummer. And that's something I always remember. But I saw Roy Gallagher at the old Agora, Peter Frampton before Frampton's Frampton Comes Alive album at the Agora. That's what I mean about the impact of the musicianship. Traffic played. I'm trying to think of the place, the small venue, Allen Theater. They had everybody play there. I mean, Lou Reed, Genesis, when they had Peter Gabriel. That's why Cleveland became the rock and roll capital of the world, because it was the musicians that loved coming and playing.
Have you ever got to meet any of the people from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I met Joe Bonamassa. I got a picture up of him and me together. I met him at a meet and greet when I donated some money to Channel 25, and they gave me a meet and greet. And I had the opportunity. The cool thing that night, though, what's his face from the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli, was also playing the next night. True story. And you know how all those theaters are connected together. And this was about an hour before Bonamassa's meet and greet. And they were doing the sound check for Frankie Valli. We got to hear Swear to God, a couple other songs I can't remember. We got to these 4 songs of him as they were doing the sound check.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was. That was really good.
The guy who founded the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so he had a house, a really nice house, and a really large property out in like Newberry, Novelty area.
Mm-hmm.
But I recently did some work for the people who own it now, and everyone that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been to this property and has partied there.
They ruined the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, putting some of the bands that should have been in. Tell me, Randy Bachman.
I don't even know who that is.
Randy Bachman is the guitar player with the Guess Who and BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive. You know how many great songs that guy wrote, and he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Roy Gallagher's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So many people, Uriah Heep. I could go on and on and on. Bad Company, I don't think, is in the Rock and Roll.
They did. I thought they just got inducted, literally last year or the year
Mick
before.
Ralphs. Mick Ralphs
totally crazy.
just passed away. That's what I mean about guitar player, but he was a writer. He wrote half of that Bad Company's first album, and he was with Mata Hoople. But he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
Bad Company went in this year.
Yeah.
Did they? Finally?
Yeah.
Oh,
Along with Ozzy Osbourne, of course.
Well, that should be a given.
Yeah.
Right, but it took them until
The
2025.
Prince of Darkness.
No Iron Maiden. No,
Well, that's the sad thing is that you look at how many times musicians after their death they get in.
Right.
It should be like that.
John
Really
Lloyd
shouldn't.
from Deep Purple, the keyboard player. He didn't make it.
It's because a lot of people don't realize how good something is until it's gone.
Right. That's life on everything, you know what I mean?
And
That's
like
why you got to appreciate every day and appreciate people. I think what's lost today is the word empathy.
Yes.
I very much agree with that, actually. I could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, but it's just respecting somebody.
There's
And if
a-
you don't, I always believe this. If you don't respect yourself, those are the ones who don't respect empathy, in my opinion, because that's why they're pricks.
Fair.
You know?
Fair.
I'm pretty sure. I think you're exactly right on that one.
Because all it is, life is about experience. That's how you gain wisdom. Intelligence is just a measure of what you know at a moment, tests. But wisdom comes from living life. Learning from everybody else.
And talking to people
Exactly.
who know
That's why
more
I
than
talk
you.
to people. I don't want to follow everything on the news and stuff is okay. I don't believe it's all this crap out, fake news, and there's still great journalists out there if you read. You know what I mean?
You have to pay attention on your own. You can't just
Right.
let people tell you what's happening.
Right. And I don't know. There's so much going on right now. I don't want to mention it. I just hope America toddles back to the right side up again. Put it to you that way. I don't blame politicians. I blame our society. People. They're the ones who make up our society. They're the ones who go and vote. They're the ones who dictate.
Well, they make a decision, so
Right.
yeah.
That's the society.
Fair enough.
And our society has went from doing good for people and respecting other people to chosen ones. Certain people are better than everybody else.
I don't know where the phrase "love thy neighbor" went, but it feels like no one really
exactly.
appreciates it anymore. It doesn't even have to be a Christian thing or a religious thing. It's still there's a lot of points in the Bible.
No,
just as
Callum.
an
Well,
example.
that's why I said, what did God give us?
Forgiveness?
And I don't want exactly, but the most important thing He gave us, and I'm not trying to be like some minister or nothing, but the bottom line, He gave us the free will. That's what he told Adam and Eve, if you believe, the faith side of it. And I don't want to get too religious about it, but that's really
That's
what God
what
gave
religion,
it.
or Christianity is about. Is loving your neighbor, caring about people.
But how do you do that? By choosing the right things. By take the right path. Don't go down the wrong path. Biblically, Eve went down the wrong path, and what happened? They got kicked out of. From what I was taught going to Catholic and parochial schools, God told Adam and Eve, do this, and you'll have, Shangri-La. And what did she do?
The opposite.
No, it was a choice.
Didn't she eat the apple?
It was simple. It was a choice, right? She chose that. So that's why I look at it, what you do with your choices. Like you said, you be nice to somebody or you're a prick to them. Do you understand somebody or you just think it's your way or the highway, And what's mercy? We ought to go to church, right? And that's all they talk about is God's merciful, right? Mercy's forgiveness. It's nothing. If you're merciful to somebody because they did something to you, you're forgiving them. And that way you get away from all the people who try to manipulate you using religion. Because I respect anybody's religion or what they believe as long as you don't hate, want to kill people, and be a prick. I'll respect you. I'm not going to say you got to believe everything I believe, but just be decent.
As crazy it is to say, I've never met, I'm young, but I've never met an adult who, has those views that you're talking about right now.
Well, your
and
parents, don't they?
No,
Oh,
unfortunately. Like I'm saying right now, I've never met an adult I've seen people, on the internet advocate, but I've never actually face-to-face met
I'm
someone
one of
who
them.
has the same views as me.
But it's the truth, though. I mean, it's so I don't know. It's so easy to be, like I said, just to be nice, and live your life, and do things that are right. People get mad at me because I root for my Browns. I don't care. I like my Browns. They're going to always be my favorite team, whether they win a Super Bowl or not. And I'll probably be dead before they make it to the Super Bowl.
No, don't say that. There's a chance. Like this much.
I don't think this year.
Not this year. 2028, probably, maybe.
Well, it depends. What do they do before the trade deadline?
Maybe we'll move cities again.
Wait,
Who knows?
you do sports, Nathan, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's what gets me about the Cavs. I love the Cavs, but everybody makes fun that the Cavs aren't tough. Well, let me see. They blew out the Heat last year, right?
I think the Cavs are one of the best basketball teams in the league.
But then when they played Indiana,
we got outpaced.
No, the first game they lost, Garland didn't play. They fouled Embry, not Embry, what's his face? Who's the tall guy?
Mobley.
Oh, Mobley.
Remember, they knocked him to the ground. He hurt his ankle. Then they hurt Hunt when he went up for the one layup. Remember, they knocked him down to the ground?
You could say a little bit, at least, sort of
All
physically
three of them
tough.
guys were gone to injuries. So that momentum they had with the Heat went south in the first game. And they were calling the referees.
And it's not like it was a bad series to watch. Like, we still played good basketball.
Yeah, but we didn't have...
We
did not have Mobley, Garland, and what's his face? Hunt. We didn't have them. Just like
Mitchell, he also stepped up during that series.
Oh, yeah.
He played some fantastic basketball. We don't talk enough about the Cavs because they're out of season right now.
Right.
But
What
That'll
gets me
change.
about
basketball.
the national media that really gets me irked, and maybe you should talk more about it. The Cavaliers win the championship in 2016, right? They're the first team to come back from 3 games down to 1 in the history of basketball. They're playing supposedly the greatest team of all time, the Golden State Warriors, the highest prolific scoring team in the history, and we beat them. They had 2 games to win 1 to win the championship, and they couldn't do it, right? We beat them. If you look at both those 2 games, the last 2 games in the fourth quarter, they scored 11 and 13 points against the Cavs. It was defense. And then once we won, all ESPN and all they said was, we lost because Draymond Green didn't play. He was suspended for 1 game. And they never mentioned the fact that Kevin Love missed a game and a half that series, if you remember, because he had a concussion protocol. But they never
I do not
mentioned
remember. That
that.
was a while ago.
Yeah, but they never respect what the Cavs do. They always kind of like belittle it, you know.
You know, I definitely see where you're coming from.
They do. And that shit. It was never done before.
I also it could have something to do with a lot of others, like bigger cities. They have more money. There's more, I guess you could say, hype. Like people anticipate
right.
what's going on there more. In Cleveland's, we're more of a low key city, and we're still not small. We're not,
No.
but I definitely see where you're coming from.
But you
that
look Lakers, like they
our
had the
achievements
history.
get downplayed.
And they go, and all these ESPN people, they're all from Chicago or New York, or
LA.
you know, they like you said, they had the bigger cities,
Or Texas.
you know.
And it's like, well, of course you're gonna talk up your team. Your team is the Cowboys. You have everything. You're the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Well, they still can't finish
Besides
in
a good
the
team.
playoffs.
Besides a good team.
Yeah, they still can't finish in the playoffs.
Did you see Jerry Jones over the weekend?
No, that guy's a goof.
He was up in his box. And
He
all
gave
the Jets
the
fans
number
were
one
below him.
symbol to a bunch
He
of
flipped
fans.
them all off.
Oh, what an idiot! You know, that's what I mean about somebody's got all the money in the world, this and that, and he lowers himself to do that.
And if they find him like $250,000, and me and Jeremiah were like,
That's enough.
he's got $250,000 in his left pocket.
They could go to the right pocket, pull out his checkbook, and just go and add
His
like
checkbook
another.
probably made out of gold.
Yeah, go at least add another. What?
It's 12 zeros.
Well, not at least
Um,
another 1-0.
At least.
2.5 would be a lot more of a interesting thing of what his opinion would be.
Are there any like local Cleveland bands that you've got to meet that you really like?
Oh, I have been out of the scene for a long time. You know, my friend Mike Dublo used to have his own. I forgot what he used to go by. He used to have a band, but not really. I mean, like I said, I wasn't into doing cover. Not that there's anything wrong with doing cover, not at all. But I don't know. I got into it mainly because I started writing, and then I bought all the equipment and stuff. You know, and it just happened. I didn't plan it. You know what I mean? So that's something I didn't do. Could we? There's one song we could do. It's called "Riding Alone." Was the first real song I wrote. All I sang was the harmony. I had my good friend that I met through work. I used to sell Penske truck leasing nationally, truck soaps, degreasers, brake cleaners.
The company I work for, we rent Penske's all the time.
Yeah, well, they're headquartered in Reading. And matter of fact, probably give him a plug. Mark Alton at the time was vice president of logistics for them. He's now the president.
I'm pretty sure one of my customers I moved not too long ago is a personal friend of his.
Mark Alton?
Yeah.
Wow, what a small world. Mark, if he is, mention my name. I don't know if Mark would remember. This is back in 2001.
I moved this guy. He's like, Tim Ganley. Like,
Yeah.
He's like that, but in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
He knew him. He's like, I have that guy's number because we were using Penske's for his stuff. He's like, I'll call him right now.
I used to remember sitting in his office. And they're in, oh gosh, I just forgot. Reading, Pennsylvania.
Do you know a guy named Tim Rossell?
No.
Oh, well, that was him. I was wondering if you guys might have known each other.
No, because Ruan Transportation was down in North Carolina. That's what I used to sell chemicals and other stuff. But
How long did you do that for?
I'm still doing it.
Mm.
I'll never retire. But this song, I met this gentleman named Ted Mueller, and he was a service manager for Penske, and he knew I was doing music, and that's how we met. And I gave him a song, and I asked him to come down and sing it, and he came down and sang "Riding Alone" for me, which was really nice of him. And that's why I put that song "War Wounds" on, because he had come down to my house because he lives in Buffalo, and he wanted to record this song, and I had all the equipment to do it, and Ken and I were engineering it for him. We let him play the guitars. He's got all the vocals down, and all I did was add a little string with the keyboard, and Ken played the drums with my keyboard, and it came out so good. And plus, for him to come down and do "Riding Alone" for me, I wanted to give him some pub. He's a great guy. He just lost his wife a few years ago to brain cancer. I think he was married 42 years.
Wow.
You know, but his attitude is awesome. You know, he's got 3 daughters. Nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's what I mean. You meet nice people, you keep them in your life.
Not true.
And that's the way it goes.
And they're great to collaborate with.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, him and I had plans to do this now but since I can't play anymore, it's kind of like it sucks. But you know, I had enough older material that I was fortunate to have. You know, like which is this CD, and I think it sounds really. You know, I know it sounds arrogant, but I don't mean it. But if you don't believe in your music, no one else will. But I think a lot of it is it's pretty good. We did a good job, and to me, still amazing is pretty much that's me and Kenny playing almost everything on all this music, which is odd, you know. And like I said, having the opportunity to record with a Glenn Schwartz and meet all the people that I've met that have said, Mike, you got good stuff, you know. Because like I said, that's all it's about, you know. I don't plan on ever being famous or rich. I just want people to say, hey, that's a good song. I want to hear it again. That's the truth, man. I bet you if you ask anybody, that's really all they want is get your music to be heard. And Jeremiah does a good job of supporting local Cleveland, Northern Ohio musicians.
Well, it's really more the station as a whole.
But you do your homework, though. You don't just let it sit. You sourced me out before. I never knew you, right? So you did your homework.
Well, it's like it goes the other thing is like the PR director, especially at first when we started at the time, you know, looking nonprofits, businesses, stuff, and that. He listens to, but didn't really, you know, even think of that. Me, that's more my thing. Then I started in that journey, and that then even started doing it and say, well, hey, I've done this, that. I'm tied up with other stuff you do. So it is sort of, I did my little bit of homework, but also had others go and.
Yeah, but it still was. You didn't find us unless you did it, right?
Well, yeah.
You know, and
Except Reverb Nation's really fallen off that they don't really keep it up to date.
I know.
Compare.
Well, shit, the stuff I posted then was, gosh, from 2201. You know, I mean that's been a long time.
Because I've been recently on that looking around. And it's like it's really not up to date anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was cool too, as far as, you know, not believing. Remember, Reverb Nation used to have a top 10 list for national bands, and Lost to Love was #1 for almost 2 months. You know, Joe wrote the lyrics, I wrote the music. That was pretty cool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed a lot of the stuff that I put on my Facebook page isn't on there anymore. Somebody took it down. I don't know who took it down. But
Well, it could be always the copyright stuff that they switched around and all that on, was it Meta? Since it's own, yeah. Could be that.
I don't know, what is a Meta? I always see that.
Well, that's the
Technically,
actual
it's
company.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram's all underneath that corporate.
Oh, wow, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's,
So it's not, you know, Facebook.
who-
Now it's
that's
Meta
not
that's a
Zuckerberg.
bigger.
It is.
Zuckerberg
Yeah.
that owns Meta.
Then, you know, with everything with the whole, you know, false news, all that they put in copyright and
Yeah, I know. That's why you got to just...
They're not as bad as YouTube. I give them that, at least.
Yeah, YouTube's never been a great platform for creators.
Oh, they've been a lot more. It's
YouTube
since what,
so
16?
when YouTube was in its prime, it was good, and it got popular, and they made.
Well, Google bought it, and that's when the downfall happened. Was as soon as Google took it over and that, it's like.
Was that when they started doing the YouTube the rewinds for the
You
year?
know, it's-
I don't think.
yeah. What's funny, I was in the trades. This is before the internet and all that got big. And I wanted to do a whole YouTube, before YouTube was and all that. I wanted to do videos on how to hang wallpaper, how to do certain things around your house. You know, now all those tutorials are out, you know. But just having the thought don't mean crap. But, I mean, you think about it. But it's changed so much. I mean, everybody wants everything instantly.
We were just talking about that in the last interview.
Yeah, I used to carry around a laptop. Not no more with these phones. You don't need them. I get Excel, I get Word, I get my quotes, I get letters.
Unless you really want to look at it, or you have really wide stuff in a lot of columns that a laptop.
I know a lot of kids
it's a
that
lot
go to
more
class
easier.
with. They even do their notes and whatnot, classwork on their phones.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be able to do that. I just really, I'm usually a pen paper person, but you
Ditto.
know, when you have too many notes in a class, then it's just like, okay, I don't want my wrist to fall off. But
Yeah, I'll take my notes now on a computer, but I like my assignments on paper.
Yeah.
me too.
No, that's the old way.
fair
That's
enough.
how it used to be. Most people don't even know what an abacus is.
Is that old math thing?
Yeah, it was the one with the beads.
The slide?
Well,
Yeah.
even electronic
blue,
typewriters.
I would love to be able to use a typewriter.
I love.
someday.
My mom used to have one, and I'd just be in the garage clicking it all day. Just
Yeah, my mother owned the electric one.
Oh, electric typewriters were the way to go after.
And then you hit the ribbon that they had to put in it and all that other stuff. Yeah,
That's old news. It's just funny.
I know, right?
Progress.
Not including before cell phones, rotary or just the dial ones. They had the cordless,
How expensive car phones were back then. I knew people that used to get $800-900 bills back then. It's gone down so much.
that's insane.
But that's how it was.
And with inflation, how much would that have equated to back then?
Oh, it was expensive. Because I know I used to pay my own bills, and when I used to, I consulted for a company, and I used to sit back and shake my head because one of the owners used to wonder why his phone bills were so expensive for all salesmen. And I used to point. I say, Bob, you see, here's your sales manager walking in the office with his cell phone in his ear, where he could be sitting in his office on a landline. That's the stuff that goes on. How about we play, just to change gears here, I want to give Ted Mueller some pub. This is Riding Alone. I wrote this song and lyrics, and I didn't want to sing it because I like Ted's voice. And this is Ted Mueller singing it.
Riding alone into the unknown. No place to call home. You're on your own. Riding alone. Riding alone. There's nobody home. We're flying the skies through all of life's light. Riding in a storm, a strong heart be warm, finding true love. Comes from the good Lord above.
say, the first one you played is still my favorite.
That's cool.
Oh, would help if I actually had
Soundboard. Come on. Come on, man.
something. I didn't realize I moved the mouse. God.
He's got the biggest soundboard in all the land.
Well, true.
Did you see that screen up there? Every one of those dots is a full screen of different sounds.
Wow.
It's very impressive. He's got one for every scenario.
And then some.
Like,
then
we'll
some?
be having a conversation. He'll be like, wait. Click it.
Take my wife, please. No.
Well, to be honest, I had to get ready for Brown season.
Brown season. It's already
It's not going really
already
well.
over.
If you want to wrap this up in about 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there's another song I wouldn't mind you guys playing. Another. It's
You want to play off with that or not?
What do you mean?
Go through another few in that, then that? Or do you want to hit that now, then come back with that?
Why don't you play the song? 'Cause
Okay.
it's one of, this one is called Only Knew Her Name. It's the only song. I wrote the music and the lyrics. My ex-partner wrote the lyrics only for the chorus, I mean. And it's the only song that him and I actually sang on together.
Wait, what was this track again?
Only Knew Her Name. I think it's 5.
Oh, wow, I was just blind.
Yeah.
This is a cool tune, I think. It's not rock. It's more of a ballad. Excuse me.
Wake up, sunshine. Clouds have gone away. Hey, there's sunshine. Brighten up my day. There's a new day dawning. Just beyond our view, her beside me, we're taking it all away. The sun will rise without any help from me. The rivers will still flow into the sea. My mind can't comprehend such mysteries. It's all a wonder to me. Ooh, I only knew her name. Hello, sunshine. Glad you came out today. We'll play together, then dance the night away. The heavens will guide us. Good times or bad. Angels are singing. What a beautiful day. The sun will rise without any help from me. The rivers will still flow into the sea. My mind can't comprehend such mysteries. It's all a wonder to me. I only knew her name. There's a new horizon. We'll discover with her beside me. and such mystery. It's all a wonder to me. Why only one day? Good night, sunshine. You made another day so sweet, tight, my darling. Dream your night away.
It's so cool that perfectly on tempo. Boom.
Because of playing it so many times, like I said.
On average, how many times did you rehearse one of these songs?
That's hard to say. To actually record it, to write it, I don't know how many. Sometimes.
Like to go from you have the song and you have to put it in a recording.
It was usually
and all
only
the
a couple
takes.
times.
So it, you know.
Handful or two?
No, just like if I had the song in my head already done, not counting trying to get there, and we were going to record it. Oh, we did it in 2 takes at the most.
That's
Okay.
pretty cool. So
'Cause you knew the
you
music.
just had it. You
Right,
just put it out there. Now,
Practice,
how long would it take you
practice.
to-
It's true.
How long would it take you to get it from your brain to?
That I couldn't tell you.
It was different every time.
Every time. That's why all my songs.
And that's kind of what the other gentleman said. It's like sometimes it happens like that, and
it
sometimes it
does.
took me a long time to put it together.
That's what I said about that one song where my buddy Mike gave me those lines. You know, it's been said through the ages. If he doesn't give me that, I don't have that brain thought to follow the rest of that up. But giving you that, it just, I don't know. I don't know how John Lennon and these guys did it with some of the songs, like Day in Life. If you ever listen to the lyrics, that depicts life perfect.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
actually
it's
really
like
agree.
perfect. And he was, what, 22 years old when he wrote that song? How did he get that prolific at that such a young age? You think about it. All their music they wrote, they were no older than 25, 26 when they, all of them guys. But you know, then again, they grew up in an era, where London and England was devastated from World War II because they were all born in the 40s. So what
True.
you know what they have? They had memories of
Bombs blowing up.
garbage.
Yeah,
Right.
Rubble. And,
Yeah.
and
Famine,
repression.
rubble, reconstruction, whatever, you know. And they loved American music, which is what it was. How about we do one more song and call it? And I got to say this again. Jeremiah, thank you. Ariana, Nathan, thank you. Really do
You're
appreciate
absolutely
Of
welcome.
course.
I'm trying
Thank
to
you
think
so much
which
for
song to
being here.
play.
Okay.
You gotta set it off on a good one.
I know. That's just. I'm not even gonna pick one of my songs. Do that song "Under the Dumpster."
Under dumpster.
Yeah. Kenny wrote this. My drummer Ken wrote this on keyboard, and with him and I, it would take us probably about maybe 2 or 3 times together because he wrote it on the piano. You might like this one.
Very nice.
And I want to, before we end this, I want to say thank you to everybody. Really
Yeah.
do appreciate it, and all the best in your education and your careers.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Real.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming out, man.
We appreciate you coming
Good
out,
stuff.
and sharing your wisdom with us.
I
course.
wouldn't go there.
You definitely
Yeah, I would
taught us
agree.
some pretty cool things
Well,
today.
I'm
And like I
glad.
said,
Good.
I had never, met, a person with the same views who aligned as me, who's an adult. Because it's just a rare thing for me to see, apparently.
It's a bummer though, because
It really
there should
is.
be more people to get along and understand each other. That's the easiest way to have it.
It'd be a great world if we all got along, at least
Yeah.
a little bit more.
I mean, that's in that song. Forgiveness is right. That's one of the lines. We should all get along, to love one another. Why I'm singing this song. See, none of that would have came out, but I think Jeremiah's going to play one more last song. I hope.
Okay.
You want to do one more? I want to. If you had lullaby, if you can't, that's all right. Don't worry.
Did I play that or no? I didn't.
No,
Oh.
the last one.
The last song. It's an all instrumental. I remember writing this with my old Martin and keyboard.
We could play out on it.
No, don't. That's all right. Don't worry. I'm not worried. We're good.
Well, we could go and yes, sort of finish off here and just let it play off, and I'll stop the recording
Okay.
after
Sounds good.
and that. So appreciate you for coming out, dude.
Appreciate you having me. Big
Yeah,
time.
this was fun.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet
Go
you.
Cavs. Nice
Yes,
meeting
go
you.
Cavs.